You are live, Eva. Hello.
Thank thank you, Christelle. Thank you so much. Very happy to be sharing this space live with all of you and also with you, Christelle.
Yes, thank you for
I
having me with you. It means a lot.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
it means a lot to me too. And as I just explained, the idea for this Dancing in the Dark broadcast was a lot of friends and other people asked me a lot of questions about my process and what happened, why did I disappear, why
Mm.
am I always with these black glasses? And I thought, like, rather than I got tired of answering individually, and I
Yeah.
decided that it was maybe time to share it openly with
Mm.
all these amazing friends and family, and even people that I don't really know that have supported me throughout this process,
Yeah.
and share openly with authenticity and vulnerability what actually
Yeah.
happened.
Yes.
So yeah,
Thank
that's
you
and then
for.
of course, yeah, and of course having you here with me for me symbolized like the kind of the last piece in this healing process, because your visit with Marie in my house in the jungle has been really a very strong
Mm.
connection, really, really very deep connection, and a magical portal opened for me and for my healing, for my kind
Mm.
of the last piece of the healing. Even though I'm still healing, this was
Mhm.
really a major step. And so I really wanted to have you here in this open discussion and also to support me because I can't actually see the screen. And if people
And
are
your
asking
eyes.
questions,
Yes.
I can't really see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll be answering questions in the chat. So everybody can, when the questioning time will arrive, you can ask all your questions in the chat, and I will tell them to Eva, and she will answer them. I'm really happy to be here with you, Eva. Eva
Thank
and I
you.
met in Costa Rica last November, and it was a magical portal, as you say.
Yeah. Very, very magical. So what happened? Everybody's like, how come it was
Yes,
very sudden and suddenly you
yes.
needed a surgery? So it wasn't sudden. The surgery was sudden, but the process of losing my eyesight were actually longer.
Hmm.
And the first time I heard about what was going on for me was in 2018. I was visiting my family in Jaffa, Israel, and I was doing a workshop with my dear friend Dalit Eliyahu. We have this ongoing workshop called Conflict Transformation from Within. We have our own movement called One Whole Piece. And I was too busy. I forgot my glasses in Costa Rica, and I needed to go and get a new prescription for glasses. And I remember the doctor said, "Oh, I'll give you these glasses, but you really have to see an ophthalmologist. And you seem to have two black dots in your eyes that need to be examined." So that was July 2018. And I didn't do anything about it. I was like, yeah, when I get to Costa Rica, I'll go and see someone. Then I got to Costa Rica and I had to travel to Madagascar to do a gender training. And then I had to travel back. And it just like, you know, how busy life can be when we think we're all powerful and running around doing our own thing, thinking that we are or I am invincible. I didn't think it was serious. I thought that the doctor was exaggerating. And I was able to see with the glasses that he gave me. I was able to drive. And I have this amazing personal assistant called Natalia that was actually reading my email and responding and helping me with contracts and terms of reference and all the various things that I needed to do on computer. So I actually didn't notice that I was losing progressively my eyesight. I noticed it the first time in December 2019, so nearly a year and a half later. I noticed that I actually wasn't able anymore to read. Up until then, I think I was just too busy with my own life as a mother, as a wife, as a full-time international consultant, as a coach, and just like having a very busy life, not having much time to read other than on my phone, not really using the computer, not really using newspaper or documents to read. And on my phone, I could read like really close by. So I didn't notice I was actually losing my eyesight and not being able anymore to read. And in December 2019, I needed to read a terms of reference for a new contract I was hired to do, and I realized I can't read it. Natalia was busy at the time with another contract we were having, and she couldn't really read that. So I had the task to read it, and I suddenly came to the a reality of like, I can't read. I actually can't see. I really can't see. And that really shocked me, and I took action immediately. I had a meeting with the doctor in San Jose for January 7th, and when I went there, the doctor said, wow, you have 2 identical holes in your retina. And that seems as if you were sun gazing. Do you have a practice of sun gazing? And I said, yes, I do have a practice of sun gazing, but I don't sun gaze during the day, or, like, I'm not doing it every day. And for him, it was like, because the hole were similar in both eyes, and he had just read this article about people losing their eyesight after the eclipse, the sun eclipse in the 20s. And so he assumed that that was the reason. So that was January 7th. And he said, you need an immediate operation. And because you also have a cataract, you need an operation, 2 operations at the same time. And the sooner the better. And it has to be quick. And I took some time to reflect on that. It didn't sit well with me. And I started doing alternative medicine, alternative work around it, had a other opinion, took the photos that we had from my eyes and sent them to different doctors in Israel and in France to just explore different possibilities. And because I was traveling, I was going to travel to Israel in May. I thought I would be doing it in Israel, where my family is, because the operation had to have at least 2 months of recuperation at the time. And then COVID hit, and with COVID, everything stopped. And in July 2020, so basically I was losing my eyesight more and more, and reducing more and more the type of activity I was able to do. And luckily, I'm blessed to be living in the jungle, where I don't need necessarily to drive, and I don't need necessarily to do many things that would actually require eyesight. And I'm blessed to have a partner that was very present, as well as with my kids and friends. And so I didn't really feel, especially in confinement, like we were all confined, the whole planet was confined. So I didn't really feel the degradation until July 2020, when I went to another visit at the doctor, and this time I chose another expert. So I basically saw 3 different experts before deciding on the operation. And this expert was saying that actually I'm losing my eyesight faster compared to the photo, to the scan that was taken in January, and that I really needed to do an operation as soon as possible. And the third expert was saying, which is the doctor that I chose to go with, he was the calmer of all. And he was like, okay, you're losing your eyesight. It's not as quick. And it has nothing to do with sun gazing. It has to do with a certain type of aging. And most people have it. It's something that is very common, except that most people die before they have it. And that a hole in the retina, we all will get it at some point in our life. It's more common than we think. It's just that it's not spoken about, and most people at my age don't get it. So given, as you see, I have already white hair, and I'm like, okay, so the whole aging process is kind of accelerated with me. And so now it's also the eyesight. And so this doctor said that I needed to do an operation, and it wasn't as urgent, but the faster I would do it, the better it would be. But I'm not going to be losing my eyesight within a month. And so we decided that within a month, I would be doing this operation. And the operation was considered as 99% of success if I do it and stay in the place where I'm doing the operation, because where I live, the level of the sea was too, like, I couldn't change levels. Like, I live by the sea, San Jose is in the mountains, and the pressure on the eyes, if I would have traveled, would have affected my eyesight. Anyway, to make a long story short, the doctor couldn't predict how long this would be. He thought it was going to be 2 weeks for me to recover, not full eyesight, but at least to be able to be present and see más o menos. And it turned out that I was actually in the darkness for 2 months. I wasn't able to see. I had gas in the eyes, and progressively the gas was leaving the eyes, but it was very, very slow progress that allowed me a lot of time in really sitting and meditating and staying in the dark and not really being able to do much and being dependent on the amazing network of friends and family I have. Has been one of the most blessed period of my life. It's such a contradiction to have one of the worst thing, traumatic thing happening to me in my life, and at the same time discovering or uncovering the amazing, amazing, amazing love and support I received on a daily basis from across the world. Like, really, it was just, I was blown away and heartbroken how much love and support I received during this darkness. And so one day a friend, Aisha Michal, my dear friend, came, and she loved music, and she's like, oh, come on, you can't see, but let's dance. And she kind of like invited me to dance. I couldn't see. I didn't even know how much space I had around me, and that was a bit scary. But I danced. And that brought so much joy in me in that period. I was in such a dark place. I was so depressed. I was feeling so dependent, so vulnerable, not being able to do anything that I enjoy. And suddenly this was the light. The light was I was able to dance. Like, I didn't need to see anything. And I didn't, I mean, like, I was like kind of putting my hand around me just to test how much space I had. And I remember after, when I started seeing later on, and I saw that same space where I danced, I was like, oh my God, I had so much space around me. And yet I was confined. Even in my dancing, I confined myself to this little spot, you know? And I feel, reflecting on it now, because I'm still healing, I still can't see. I can see more. I can see when people are very close to me. I can see my phone and WhatsApp and messages, but I can't really work on a computer. I can't really do what I used to do. I don't feel like I'm the same person, or I have the same abilities that I used to have. And so I needed to adjust to a new way of being, like literally a new way of being in my life and with my environment, and all this happening in parallel to COVID. I mean, like, it's crazy. It's crazy because I feel like I'm not the only one who went through such a dark time. I feel like the whole planet, so many of my friends and family have been in such a difficult time, really, really challenging time. And being told literally by our governments to do this or that, to take distance and separate and isolate and confine. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm already confined with my eyesight. I'm already like not seeing. And the only thing that I can rely on is touch, is hearing, is taste. Suddenly all my senses are much more acute. And in this new environment, I'm being asked to be confined. I'm being asked to stay at home and not touch, and not like I feel like I'm really, 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 really blessed beyond measure to be living in the jungle and not in the neighborhood in the city, And at the same time, I feel so grateful that I actually had the opportunity to live this experience of losing my eyesight and recovering it slowly through this time where I feel we're all going through some darkness, and that we need a space, just an open space, a safe space to talk about this. And that's kind of part of my initiative here in English. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing a similar initiative in Hebrew with my friend Dalit, because I feel like we're going through such a dark time and we're talking about it maybe if we're lucky, with close friends that are living, that with whom we still have a close relationship, and not over just Zoom or virtually. But I feel like now is the time for such a deep connection, regardless if it's physical, virtual, or whatever. It's like, it's a time of embracing the darkness, really embracing the darkness. And when I danced that day with Aisha playing the DJ, I had, for 1 hour, I forgot all limitation that I had at the time. I forgot I was depressed. I forgot I didn't see. I forgot I was in cold San Jose instead of the warm Caribbean that I love. I forgot everything but the dance. And so for me, dancing in the dark is what we're all currently doing in a way. And each person has their own dance. And for some people, it's not dancing, it's painting, and other it's writing, is reading, is whatever it is. But it is something that we do in the dark because it fills us with so much joy, regardless of what the outside circumstances are. And I feel I need to grasp to that. I need this dancing in the dark to allow the light. I'm not even seeking the light, because what I saw in this dark moment is how much light, love, and support I received. And I know it's not only me, it's everybody. We're supported in so many different ways that we don't see, that if we just allow this support, if we just allow this love to embrace us, if we allow this light that is within us to kind of break us free. And that was one of the vision I had. That was like one of the strongest vision I had when I couldn't see. I saw myself completely in a very, very dark space. I don't know if for those of you who know Dr. Joe Dispenza that speak about like go into this dark space, you know, this dark space, this darkness where there's nothing. And I went into this space where there's nothing. And all I could see was this small particle of light. And this particle of light then covered planet Earth, and we all became human. I mean, you can think, oh my God, she got crazy while she was in this dark place. But at the same time, I felt how I was coming from this light, breaking completely into pieces and becoming a human being. You know, I became a human being, and that's what I am, and that's what we are. We are all light particles that become this form of human being. And so rather than seeking the light, we just need to allow the light to break free, even if we are in dark spaces or dark places. And it was a very, very strong vision for me to see my outer shell being broken to pieces and my heart being broken wide open to embrace who I am, the light that I am, and to accept that. And for me, that's my main message today, for myself and for my friends and for my family and for whoever wants to hear me. Let us, like, we're going through such a dark moment in life right now. Let us embrace who we are, who we truly are, and not allow our sovereignty, our light, our freedom to be taken away. Voila. And I pose the magic stick here and would take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva. That was wonderful. You've given us such a large feeling and picture of your experience. And wow, what an experience! What a in COVID. that was
Crazy.
the cherry on the top in your experience. So hello everybody who is with us. You can ask any questions you want in the chat and I will share them with Eva. But go ahead and let us know if you'd like to have more insights about a subject or another, and we'll give you a moment to ask the question. Otherwise, I have some questions. Okay, let's see. So before the question, I'll read you a few things here. So Nestle Han, I don't know if I, sorry if I'm not saying it right. We have all been going through transition, and yes, this was a very great transition time. Aisha says that she with you. And we have a question from Flora. Um, so she would like to understand why this happened. She came a bit late, so she missed a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of at the beginning when you were
Mm-hmm.
explaining about aging. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, and then there's another question after that.
Yeah. It's an aging process that is normal and natural, and many people actually have it, but at a later stage of in life. We all lose. We have a certain gel in the retina, and at a certain, the more we age, the more we lose this gel, and when we lose this gel, it creates a hole in the retina, according to this doctor that I saw, and that's
Mm,
what created. And um, if it's not handled in the proper time, it has to be monitored, and you have to have an operation to close. So
mm,
basically, the operation that I had closed the hole. So now the holes are closed, but because I still have cataract, I still can't see. But we can't do the cataract operation right now because the
mm,
retina has to heal, and after that we would be able in 6 months to do the cataract, and then I would recover full vision. But for instance, I know of two other person. My mother-in-law has also the
mm,
same problem, but she's like 72, has
mm,
exactly the same problem as me 2 years ago. So she's
mm,
being monitored every 6 months by her doctor, that
mm,
so that she has a small holes, and so every 6 months she's checking that the holes are not growing, and if they're growing, then they will be doing an operation. So what I
mm,
understood is that it's a natural process of life, and that
mm.
many of us have it, but have it at a later stage, like
There you
white
go.
hair. You know?
Yes, yes. Wow, that's very that's interesting for us to know and understand. Next
Yeah.
question is how did Amran and Kayan reacted to this
Oh,
moment in their life and yours?
yeah. So Amram is 8 years old and Kayan is 6, and they were amazing. I find that it helped them to be more. I saw how mature they were because they were taking care of me. They, like, especially
Mm,
Amram was very present, holding my hand, being my eyes, telling me where to step. Fabrice explained to them like what they needed to see for me. Because of course, as a child, they're not like, hey,
mm,
mom, come, I'll hold your hand and let's walk together. But they didn't think about like, oh, there's like steps here. You need to take that
mhm,
step. So Fabrice explained, okay, you can take care of your mama, but this is the way how you can take care of her. You need to tell her everything you see, like there's a step, there's a stone, there's a door, like describe the environment. And they were able to do it. And like my heart was so warmed by the way these two kids handled the situation. Not that it became natural for them, but what became natural for them is that they need to take care of mama. And
mhm,
I loved that. I loved how instead of me taking their hand to pay attention, like if we're crossing the street, they are taking care of me. They're like taking care of me and saying, hey mama, there's a car, we need to wait, because I can't see car from far.
mhm.
And they were amazing, just amazing.
And they're a blessing. I'm
Yeah.
amazed at Amran and
Yeah.
Kayan. They're so independent and they amaze me. It was great
Mm.
getting to meet your
Thank
whole
you.
family.
Yeah.
Next
Thank you.
question is what helps you sit with uncertainty?
Sorry?
What helped you sit with uncertainty? Yeah.
What helped me to sit it with uncertainty?
Yes.
Breathing.
Mhm.
Breathing, a lot of breathing. And I didn't really have a choice. I feel like what helped me to deal with the unknown and uncertainty is that I didn't know. Like even the when I would have a visit to the doctor every 2 weeks, and then every month, and then every 2 months, and he was so vague. Like I never knew how long this is going to happen. And in a way, that's what was depressing, because I had my expectation that this would take like 2 weeks, then I would have some eyesight, and then I would have to stay in San Jose for 2 months, and then I would go back home and I would be functioning, you know. But instead it took like all this time, and I didn't see at all for 2 weeks. I was for like in darkness for 2 weeks, and not being able to see anything form for 2 months. I was able to see slowly like shape and forms and color, but I wasn't able to see really until like 3 months later. And so I was in complete uncertainty and unknown. And at the same time, I just have to have faith, you know, like I had to trust the process. And for me it was such a joke, you know, like I work in conflict transformation, and one of the main sentence that we say when we enter a negotiation or when we enter into a group where we're teaching them in conflict zone and conflict resolution or conflict transformation, it's like trust the process. But living the trust the process is like beyond anything I've ever experienced before. Trusting this healing process took me like to a whole different level of surrendering, which also bring me like I had a workshop 10 years ago. I was living in California, and I had this workshop called Surrender to the Spirit Within, which is like really letting go and sitting with your spirit and surrendering. Now I'm like, oh my God, I had no clue what I was talking about 10 years ago. That wasn't surrender. And I feel like even the level of surrender I had to have now, surrendering to my spirit, surrendering to spirit in general, and trusting that something good would come out of it, you know. I don't know what, but I just have to keep surrendering and surrendering and surrendering and breathing, really breathing. And I had the blessing of being with my friend Meg Williams. For those of you who know her, she's an amazing breath worker, and she was doing this twice a week. She was doing breath work session that I had the privilege to attend, and that helped me. It was every time bringing me back to center and breathing. So for an hour I could forget that I wasn't seeing, because I didn't need to see. It's exactly the same as with dancing. And I feel like what this whole experience had brought me in the unknown and in the uncertainty, and I feel like even for everybody in the COVID, is this embodiment of everything we talk about. I feel like so much in my body, and caring for my body, and understanding how dismissive I used to be. And I feel like as a society, we're magnetizing the mind, the mental, versus the body and the emotion. And I feel like that's what was gifted to me. I really feel I was gifted this embodiment, this understanding. Oh, no, no, no. You had no clue what you were talking about before, when you were talking about surrendering or about trusting the process or about having faith. Having faith is like having nothing to hold on to, nothing, like nothing. You can't even see if there's anything to hold on to, and still keeping the breath and the faith that it is okay. It's okay. Just like this word kept coming back to me, it's okay. And funnily enough, both my kids are like, okay, Omram and Kaya. And I'm like, I don't know how I did it, but it's like, it's okay. It's like, and they represent for me the okay, because even as children, they never question of like, why are you having this, or why can't you do it? They just accepted it and took on the role of like what they need to do in response to what I was going through. And I feel like this simple way of handling crisis, in a way, just like having faith, trusting the process, surrendering, acknowledging the uncertainty. And I think that's key, acknowledging that I am in the unknown, I am in the uncertainty, and it's okay. It's okay. I don't need to plan. I don't need to do anything about it. I don't need to fix it. I'm not a problem. I don't need fixing. And it's okay. This is what's happening now, because there's nothing else happening, obviously. And that was really helpful for me, just to understand that there's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the next question, I think maybe you've already answered by everything you just shared, was how to feel comfortable and happy in the unknown when nothing makes sense outside. So do you have anything else
Yeah,
to add? Because you just said so many things. I would answer this question, but do
yeah.
you have anything
Well,
you'd like to add?
the added element is the comfort and the happy. You know, I really love what my friend Shanti, with whom I'm going to be doing the retreat, heart to heart retreat at the end of the month, he talks about happiness activation. And he says that happiness is an inner job. It's not something that happened from the outside. And I feel like where I found happiness was when I danced. That
Mm,
was my happiness activation. Until then, I was really trying to make sense of what was going on for me. And so for me, I found comfort in dancing. I find comfort in tapping into the happiness and the joy that I naturally have when I dance. And I find like in when we are in an uncomfortable situation, in the unknown, in the uncertain, finding what makes us happy, regardless of what's going on outside, is key. And if we manage to find that, whether it's dancing, jumping, playing with kids, painting, running, it doesn't matter what it is, but find that thing, and that would activate your happiness. And when we're activating our happiness, we're comfortable. It doesn't matter what's happening outside. It doesn't matter if the whole world is destroyed. It's like we're happy. And it has
mm,
nothing to do with anything outside of us.
yeah, that's
Happiness is an inner job, you know.
wow, wow. The
Mm.
next question is, Neslihan, do you have any other insights that came to you during this time?
Ah, I have so many, so many insight that came to me during this time, but the key one is the one that I shared, and I would say one of maybe I mentioned it, but I would repeat it because it's really key for me. What really, in a way, broke my heart and kept me going is how much love and support I received. I'm still to today. I'm still blown away by how much love and support I received that I didn't even expect, and from people I didn't necessarily know, you know? And outside of this group of friends and family that supported me, just the support of the universe, it's just like how much the insight would be is how much we are all, with no exception, all of us as human beings, we are supported beyond measure. And the hardest thing is to accept that, is to accept that we're actually loved, we're worthy of this love, we're worthy of this support, and we are here in a universe that is benevolent and it only wants to support us and love us. And for me, that was like, I knew that in a way, but I knew that mentally, and with this experience I really embodied this understanding. And for me, that would be one of the major insight as well, is like how much love and support we receive on a daily basis, minute by minute, and we don't even know. It's really, we're touched by grace. And I love Carolyn Mace speak about it. We are touched by grace in every single second, and we don't even know it, we don't even acknowledge it. Yeah.
Wow, that's you're right. Yeah, absolutely. There's some nice things about your little voice, and your sound like to be responsible. Yes, absolutely. I'm sure you can say yes to that. How responsible they like to feel, right? Your sons.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
And Aisha says they are children made and raised with love and wisdom. That's so true too. Mm. Um, One question, very interesting question. How did it feel to be dependent on others, as such as an independent woman that you are?
How did I feel being dependent as an independent woman?
Yes.
It broke me to pieces. It was horrific. It was horrific. That was like, we're talking about inside. That was the most challenging part of it, to ask for help. I mean, that's why I say I was blown away by this love and support, because I actually had to ask for help constantly, every minute, because people don't understand what I see and what I don't see. Because I see certain things, but like to cross the street, I don't see. To like right now, I don't see you necessarily. I see like the screen. That's why I need to put my glasses. But And so I constantly need to say, I cannot. And for me, who build her life about I can do it all and I can do it all by myself and no thank you, I don't need you, I don't need anybody. This was hell. It was hell. And now I find it as the greatest opportunity of learning for me, because I really had, every time that I needed to ask for help, I had to do a whole process within me to really feel worthy of the support and love I would receive, you know?
Mhm.
And that's why I say
Absolutely.
it's like we are not aware of how much love and support we have around us. We just need to ask for it and be willing to receive it. And so the other part of being dependent is not only asking for help, is actually being allowing the help to come, you know, um, being able to receive. And I found myself, I really had a lot of challenge in receiving. It was really, really hard to receive all the support I receive, whether it's financial, love, support, a physical touch, emotional, like all type of support that I had to receive, because I had to receive it. You know, I couldn't like play the arrogant. I'm like, no, I don't need this. I actually needed it. I needed someone to cook for me. I needed someone to walk me to the bathroom. I needed someone to tell me, hey, don't pay attention. There's something here. I mean, I needed my child, 6 years old, to tell me, hey, mom, there's something here you can't touch. A child that is telling his mama, don't touch this or don't walk here. You know, it just, for me, it was such a deep exercise in humbleness and humility. And yeah, any arrogance that I had, I definitely had, was just like shattered to pieces because I couldn't show up. I couldn't play my ego. I couldn't, like, my ego couldn't rule me anymore in a way. It wasn't like the ego self of like, this is how I show up in the world and I'm independent and powerful and this and that. No, no, there's no, like, ego got shattered. And there was just like this heartbroken of needing to ask for help constantly and receiving it constantly, and being humbled by how much it was receiving. I was humbled by how much I was receiving. And so there was no space anymore for ego. There was no space for arrogance. There was no space to fake it. I couldn't fake it anymore, you know?
Yeah, that's wow.
Mhm.
Every question and the answer that goes with it is mind blowing. Yeah. So we keep
Thank you.
going down our little question list. So you had all the emotional tools and strength, so much wisdom. Are the sunglasses you're wearing special sunglasses, or are they regular sunglasses? Are they
I
good for
didn't,
your eyes? These sunglasses that you have?
yeah, these are Dreamland sunglasses. So they block any light. And then I have other glasses. I have different glasses for different time of the day. And so at night, I have the other glasses that block any light. So I'm
Mhm.
mostly, most of the time, with glasses, but these are my day glasses because they are the darkest.
And they are somebody's talking about the price. The special glasses that they're not cheap sunglasses. You can't just wear cheap sunglasses. You have to have special
No, no, no.
custom
Yeah,
sunglasses. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can, and for the doctor, I cannot have, it's not glasses that are corrective. It's just it's glasses that block the sun.
Right.
Because for now, I cannot have any other glasses, but I have only glasses that block the sun or glasses that block the light,
The
like
light.
this yellow
Yes,
glasses.
I
Yeah,
remember that. Um,
yeah.
and then the one says that it's nice to hear your voice again. Um, Lena asks any insights about medicine and healing or science about this experience of India.
Yeah, Lena, thank you, darling. Lena is the one who actually recommended me the doctor that I ended up going
Oh,
with, because he was the more grounded one and wasn't dramatic. He was great on the technical level
oh,
of the operation, and that's what I needed. But
mm,
what I realized is that the conventional medicine have no clue to the natural medicine that is available there. So my healing process actually involves several type of healing and several type of medicine. So for instance, alongside with the eye operation, the doctor kept saying that the healing is taking longer. The recovery, he wasn't calling it healing. He's like, the recovery is taking longer because my metabolism is too slow. And I really couldn't understand what he meant by metabolism being too slow. I'm like, I do everything fast. Why would my metabolism be slow? And so by exploring, my husband Fabrice found this medical intuitive that I had an online session with. And for her, the metabolism was slow because it was busy digesting food that was too heavy for me right now. And so in combination with fasting, water fasting, but also specific diet, like eating mostly vegetables with no oil, no salt, no spices, certain type of fish, certain type of cheese, certain type of protein that was very specific, had helped me actually regulate my metabolism so that my energy could go and focus only on healing my eyes and not my digestion. And that was really a very interesting insight I learned through the process. I didn't know that the eyes, I mean, I knew that the eyes were linked with the liver, so I needed to alleviate the liver in order for it not to be heavy. So I was doing a lot of cleanses around for the liver and the gallbladder liver cleanses. But at the same time, it's actually related also to the digestion, what I was able to digest or not, and make sure that what I'm eating is light enough but nutrient dense, so that I'm getting all the supplement and nutrition, and at the same time having enough energy to heal my eyes and not be focused on digestion. So I feel like there's such a two parallel type of healing in the world, and I so wish they would combine together, because I wish his name is Dr. Wu, I wish he was able to combine, all the variety, like holistic. I really believe my husband Fabrice is a holistic coach, and what he always says, like, you have to touch upon all the aspect of your issue, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. And in the physical, it's not only about what you need to take from the medicine, that conventional medicine, what it has to give you, but at the same time, we need to complement it with what alternative medicine has to offer. And this include craniosacral, it include magnet. I was having magnet on my head for like 3 hours a day, so that it can reduce the tension and the stress of my nervous system, because my nervous system was too stimulated and not being able to have my eyes to rest, for instance, because of too much internet or too much computer or too much phone or any of this thing. So being in the jungle with no internet was like heaven for me, because it allowed my nervous system to completely down and relax and rest, and being able to regulate in a natural way. And so I really believe in holistic medicine, where we can combine everything from the variety of what is available, but also what resonates most for oneself, And for me, I feel like, again, I was blessed to have the best of all the world, both conventional medicine from the doctor that did do the eye surgery that I needed, and at the same time, this medical intuitive that could help me with the diet, and the acupuncture guy that was able to give me acupuncture in certain vital organ, and the magnet, and the craniosacral, and the different emotional session. And just like I've been healing and I'm constantly healing.
Wow, that is amazing. Yes, the secret would be really to mix conventional and holistic way more, and that would solve so much.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Lena, I'll also ask, does it change the way you feel about about generosity, this experience?
About?
About generosity, being
I don't
generous,
understand.
generosity,
Generosity. Oh,
generosity.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, like, I call it, I already, like, for me, generosity comes from the heart generosity. And I consider myself as a very generous person, and I've been blessed to have generous parents and generous partners. And I feel like this experience had helped me to see generosity from the next level, because as I said before, like I feel like I was able to be generous for most of my life, but I don't feel I was able to receive generosity from other people. So in a way, the way I was generous, for me, at least from my perspective, or how I lived it throughout this year, has been like, I'm generous as long as I can control my generosity. Is giving. I'm the one who's deciding to give, how much to give, when to give. I don't need anybody to give me anything, you know? But at the same time, the other flip side of generosity is, am I able to receive this generosity I'm giving, you know? And am I able to flip it into not being control or manipulation, which I feel not necessarily that that's where I was coming from, but I feel like sometimes subconsciously, without necessarily wanting it, because we don't want to receive, or because I didn't want to receive, I kept myself in a position of power and control. And this experience, because I was receiving, and I was receiving so much, and I wasn't able to give immediately after, was very tricky for me, and really got me thinking of like, wow, reflecting back on the way I used to be generous, or how I considered generosity, or how I considered giving, and what I was expecting, if I was expecting or not, from others, and really redefining completely the giving and the receiving. Like I have a completely different perspective now on giving and receiving, and the necessary balance to have between giving and receiving, not necessarily at the same time, but that's how the flow of energy goes, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And it's important to acknowledge it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Um, Aisha says, I guess part of the certainty come from what we bring to the moment rather than what happens on the outside, like dancing, reading positive stuff, breathing, meditating,
Yeah,
and then kind of the same subject next is the Miss Tehan. It's clear that Western medicine provides zero psychological support, so the dance, breath work, etc., was essential to stay with the process, right? Mm,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
mm,
100%. I mean, like the body, suddenly my body was at the center of my interest, when before it was more about my mental body or my
mm.
spiritual body. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I also, Nesihan also said, I also imagine that Chinese medicine would have made the connections between
Yeah,
ailments and bodily functions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chinese, totally Chinese medicine. But you know, that's part of the reason why I chose the doctor, because his name was Dr. Wu, and so the Chinese doctor would be bringing this into the
Uh-huh.
conventional medicine. But it didn't
Uh-huh.
happen, so I had to have another Chinese doctor that was more of acupuncturist. And so just the distinction of like, it's not melted together, at least not in Costa Rica. Maybe it's in other places, but here, no. So I had a combination of different, like I had a team of healer basically. Other than my eye doctor, I had like the massage therapist, the body worker, the breath worker, the
Yeah.
meditation expert. But I feel like, yeah, for me, Chinese medicine was the best of making the connection. Acupuncture, every time I would have an acupuncture session, would definitely affect my eyes, like the healing of my eyes.
Uh-huh.
Especially that for them, it's connected to the liver, and liver is connected to the emotion of anger, and anger is to understand where it's coming from. Like I had time and the luxury of not having to do anything to really process a lot of like what it was bringing in terms of all the variety of emotions.
It's funny, the word that comes to my mind is your light team.
Yeah.
You have your light team. Um, so let's give a little more time. If anybody has any more questions, let's wait a little bit to see if any more questions come up. But already the questions you all asked were so perfect, and your answers were amazing. You felt us with so much understanding. So that's great. Oh yes, another question. Nasihan asked, how did this time impact your relationship with Fabrice?
Whoa. I would say it went through different waves. of first a crash, because I was so dependent upon him, and he had to take over everything, like everything. Like suddenly he became from one person to, I consider myself as being three, to like four person, having to deal with everything, both me, the kids, the house, and income, and family, and the jungle, and garden, and like just having to maintain and keep us together in a time of COVID and challenges. And in the beginning it was very, very difficult to even have a couple relationship, because I was very much in my emotions of depletion, I would say, really being so dependent upon your partner when you have a basis of a relationship of two independent person can break a relationship. And at the same time, it gave us such an opportunity of deepening our relationship and our love for each other. Also because holding space, he held so much space for me, even when I didn't want to acknowledge that, because I was like, for me, a lot of the time I just wanted to be around women, because I felt like my girlfriend would be able to support me, and Fabrice can take care of the kids and just be away taking care of the house in the jungle, while I'm just hanging out, or at least perceiving it as I'm just hanging out in San Jose with my girlfriend, making it fun, like, and not wanting, in a way, not wanting to face reality of like, I'm dependent upon my partner to do everything for me, and it's easier for me to ask for my friend, for my girlfriend, rather than for my partner. And so we processed it, we really worked through it. And I feel like the whole time, this whole period has just straightened, made even stronger our bond, our partnership, but also our understanding of ourself as friends, and not only as partners. I feel like really we come together as parents, as co-parents, as lovers, which we enjoy very much, as couple. But the new dimension in this new experience was we're coming together also as friends to hold space for each other. And in this period, it was mostly him holding space for me and giving me session, and giving me amazing body work session and shamanic session and all what I needed, and just as a friend, not as my partner or my, and that was, I feel like that was key for me in my healing process, because I really felt the need. I couldn't be anybody anymore. Like, I couldn't be a mother, I couldn't be a wife, I couldn't be a sister, I couldn't be anything but this person that felt handicapped and felt so dependent, that didn't want to be anybody. I just didn't want to be anybody. Like, even my name, I just didn't want to be anybody. Like, from all this social identity that I built over the years, I just wanted to be nobody, like nobody, and just be connected to my body. And I feel like in that space, there was no space for Fabrice as my partner, or as my lover, or as the co-parent. But there was space for him as my friend. And that's the space he kind of created and came into by being able to tell me, hey, this is what's going on, like helping me also see some of the things. You're in a feeling right now, you're feeling abandoned, or you're feeling rejected. It's okay, I'm here, I want to help you, I just want to be your friend, like being so sensitive and so attuned to my energy and to the different. I mean, he's an amazing healer, like he was able to read me before I was able to read myself, in a way, able to see where I was at before I was able to articulate for him where I was at, because I was just in a dark place and I didn't know how to even explain it to anybody else, let alone to myself. I didn't understand where I was. I mean, when I danced with Aisha, I realized, oh my God, I'm happy. I didn't realize I wasn't happy for the past 2 weeks or 2 months, And so a lot of the time in this darkness, that's what happened. That's why it's unknown. It's like, in a way, you don't even know where you are or who you are. Like, I didn't know who I was anymore. And I needed a reflection of someone else outside of all my previous social identities to be able to see me where I am and meet me where I am, and not where I should be, So yeah, that's a long
Oh,
answer.
that's
For,
beautiful. I mean, it's
thank
all
you.
the faces of love that you get
Yeah,
to experience with Fabrice.
Yes.
Love is such a expanded thing, and you get to
Yeah.
experience so many faces of it within your relationship with others. So
Yeah.
that's very beautiful. Gazelle said, "So nice to see you, as I know you're a wise woman. What do you believe the spiritual message has been for you?"
Oh, wow. Yes. The spiritual message, as I understand it, is to get away from all the social identities that I was just talking about and get away of what I see, like really close completely my eyesight so that I go within and have the insight and the understanding that I received and really share it on a wider. I mean, I would never share my life like this publicly before, like ever. It would be a nightmare. And Dalit knows, like, we tried so many times, like, oh, we need to market our works. And I'm like, not on social media. But now I just don't care. I
Mhm,
feel like it's
mhm.
not about me anymore. I feel like I don't feel related even to Eva Dalak, in a way. Like, I just feel like the spiritual message was like, you're not who you think you are. We're all here with a specific message to give, to express, to articulate. Your gift is to articulate it and to speak it in a way in the five language that I speak and to be able to share it as widely as possible. And if people want to receive it, great. If people don't want to receive it, that's their choice. But I have to say it. I have to articulate it. I have to share it. And so for
Yeah.
me, removing my eyesight kind of removed also my own judgment or my own projection or perception of the judgment that I might have or receive. And I just like, after I lost my eyesight, like I I thought I died. If there was one nightmare for me, I've always said like one thing I would never want to experience is losing my eyesight. And guess what? That's what spirit gave me. It's like, oh, really? Here, go for it. Tell me how you think.
Wow, wow. Um, wow. Yeah, that's just a sound, but that's all I can say is wow. And Neslihan says healing happens in community. It also says wow. And this is so profound, Eva. There's so many sentences from this I would love to quote. He says,
Go for it. No
indeed,
copyright.
indeed, very deep, says Flora. Flora Denit. Yeah, you filled us with so much wiseness. No, wisdom. Wiseness is another word. Wisdom. I make up words. So much wisdom. Um, yeah, thank you so much for everything you just shared.
My
Feel
pleasure, really.
very grateful to know more like about it because we talked, but we didn't go that deep into all the details
Mhm.
of your
Yeah.
experience. So that's really awesome.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank
we'll
you.
can give a space for one more question if there is. Hmm. Is there anything you would like after everything you shared? Is it anything you would like to add, or how would you like to close this
Uh,
subject of dancing in the dark?
the only word that comes to me is gratitude. It's
Mhm.
really I'm so grateful. I'm really so grateful for this experience. And it's so weird to say that because I'm really grateful for losing my eyesight. I'm grateful for this experience because it was really a gift that was given to me. And yes, it was tough. It's still tough. It's still challenging because I still need to ask friends or Fabrice to come and pick me up and drop me and do this for me and do that for me. But I'm so grateful and feel so blessed to have had the experience of receiving so much love and support and receiving so much wisdom because I even feel this wisdom is not mine. I feel
Yeah.
like I didn't prepare for this session. I'm like,
No,
I don't know what I'm going to
no,
say. I'm like,
no.
okay, spirit, you took away my eyesight. You gave me this experience. You have a plan. You go for it. Like, just speak through me because I don't know what to say. And truly, like, I'm as amazed as you of what I say because I didn't prepare. And even if I want to prepare, I can't prepare because I need to write and then I
Yeah.
can't read. So that kind of like solved the problem. And in a way, that has been my experience of like living the moment. It's like, you know what? It's easier when you just can't. And for me, as a person that always want to say I can do it, it's
Mm.
been amazing. I just can't. And can't is a word that I learned to accept. And so the only word I would close this with is gratitude. Deep, deep, deep gratitude to you for organizing this and asking and reading. Deep gratitude for all these friends, these amazing, amazing sisters and friends and family that I have. Like gratitude for this amazing universe, gratitude for spirit, gratitude for me, for who I am or who I become. And yeah, just deep gratitude.
For life,
There's no other word. Yeah. Thank you. And I
life
would say it in
experience.
all languages. Shukran, shukran, toda,
Yeah, shukran.
merci, gracias, thank you. Really.
Mm. And soon
Obrigada.
going
Even
to
though I don't speak this, and ich liebe dich, but I don't speak this two left language. But I know how to say thank you. So
oh, and you're soon going to be holding a retreat in Costa Rica with some
yes.
amazing facilitators.
Yes,
And
to
uh,
dance. You know, it's going to be to dance, not in the dark. We're going to dance in full moon. But I mean, like, it was again, it was a cooperation coming out of this darkness. I went to see the doctor. I was staying with
mm,
Aisha and Shanti. Shlomo came to visit. They all were helping me around to go to the doctor. Aisha was driving me around, and we had so much fun. Like the fact that I didn't have eyesight wasn't even like in the equation. And we were like, oh my God, we're having so much fun. We should do that more often. And so Shlomo is like, oh, how about you guys come to my retreat center? I'm like, oh, what a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. And that's how that's how it happened.
yes,
And I'm so looking forward to that because I know we're going to be like dancing to that with
yes,
Shanti's musical abilities and DJing and Aisha's amazing food and yumminess and
yes.
sacred ceremonies. And Fabrice is going to lead us into like yoga sage and yoga massage and Kundalini yoga with Shlomo. And I will be sharing my favorite thing right now, which is heart centered communication.
Mhm.
And heart centered communication is what I just shared with you all. It's really communicating from the heart using specific tool, which is the trio that I learned at the University of Santa Monica, doing spiritual psychology. And yeah, it's really being authentic and vulnerable at any stage and saying very uncomfortable thing very comfortably. And so really learning to disagree with a smile.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it is going to be such a full of essence, the essence of
Yeah.
life,
Yes.
essence of
Yeah.
life, of
Totally.
connection. And
Yeah.
so you have the few message. So indeed, very deep, letting go and living the moment, accepting gratitude. Thank you, Eva. You're a gift from
Thank
Aisha.
you. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva.
Thank you, Christelle. Thank you, Nesh. Thank you, Giselle, and
Thank you,
all
everybody,
everybody
for
else. Thank
being.
you. Thank you. Mwah.
Uh,
Love you
Thank
all.
you for being here. So this is available on the YouTube channel whenever.
Yes.
It will be there for anyone that wishes to watch it again, share it
Yes.
around you, or people that will watch it after on the day. Well, I wish
Thank you.
everybody a good day, wherever it's day, a good night, wherever it's night. And, yeah,
Thank you, Christelle. Have a beautiful evening in France.
thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Uh,